Well, I begin this discussion by reminding myself that it is one of the most incredible privileges to be able to represent the 28th District in the Circle. And I also get to represent a state in which our children were born and have been raised and learned to love the values that this state so proudly espouses. And that is Yankee pride and self-determination and truly a sense of responsibility, that in order to be successful, you have to work and you have to earn your keep and you have to make your mark, and that in your success, you are able to give back, but only when you succeed. And that is the biggest challenge we're encompassing right now. We've heard discussions back and forth about, that this SEBAC agreement is great, but on the other side, that it is a spiraling challenge of death. I think somewhere in the middle is where we're at. But far more important is this: perception. Perception of the outside world of what we're doing in Connecticut is not a good one. And the perception is we are not doing the right things. So as we said over and over again, I said before when we had the debate that the idea of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And I recollect that when the governor was running for office, he talked about past predecessors doing the same thing, extending the agreement, kicking the can down the road, that it would never happen, that leadership would take forth. But here we are right now again, kicking the can down the road. That's what this deal is to me. It's kicking the can down the road. I woke up this morning so excited because we were going to embark on something new, something compelling and visionary that we could say to the rest of the people in this state, the rest of the people in this country, that Connecticut will reclaim its place as a state of ingenuity, a state of great pride, a state of success. But as the day went on, as it ebbed and flowed, as we are at 4 o'clock right now, I'm somewhat disappointed that we may go back to the same old comfortable habits of kicking the can down the road. Cliches work because they are so real. In this case, we look at the SEBAC agreement, and there are contributions. There are concessions. But are they enough? I don't believe so. And if you ask people down in the streets that we represent, not the major unions and its leadership, not the corporations, not the millionaires, not the amorphous entity that you hear in this circle and in this debate, but yet talk to people. And what they're saying in this agreement is, it is not equally shared sacrifice. When you explain to them the fact, health insurance, deductibles, if you participate in a wellness program, is zero, they have to ask twice. No way. No, it's zero. The contributions and the citations that we would cite, and when you share that with people up and down the street, hardworking people, not millionaires, not big corporate chieftains, not union leaders, regular Joes and Jills down the street, they look at the package that is afforded our state employees, and I think they're a little bit upset. And I've talked to some state employees, union members, and reluctantly in private they've shared, I know it's a great perk, it's a great privilege, it's a trade-off we made. But the real problem is we're in a crisis mode. We're in a $5 billion budget deficit. We're asking for those individuals, every single individual, to give a little bit more, to do a little bit more than what has been agreed to on this agreement. And the fact is, as Senator Winfield cited earlier, there is the capacity for restructuring. But why do we need an agreement that binds it for a no layoff provision for 4 years, to extend the contract and terms and requirements for 10 years. Why are we not working right now, sitting in a room bipartisanly, working on restructuring without a SEBAC agreement that we're going to pass today? Why are we not going into that discussion with the flexibility, with the honesty, with the opportunity to set a better roadmap that creates a new idea, a new vision, rather than the same thing over again? Because you know what passing this agreement creates? It creates a continuum of the blame game. It's going to be the blame game of taxing the rich, taxing the corporation at the expense of those that are most at risk, most vulnerable, the most needed care in our communities. That's what it comes back to. We passed this agreement. We forced the blame game all over again. It's always somebody else's fault because we're so restricted by what we can do. There is nothing prohibiting us to work together right now without this agreement. And in rejecting this agreement opens the opportunity to create a new vision of how we can operate as a state. I'm not saying all the terms are bad in here, and I think we've all agreed on that. Both bipartisan bases have said it has some good merits. But why tie our hands with this agreement? Why are we not going forth and saying, this is a good starting point? Why don't we go back to work tomorrow with a broad new perspective and using this agreement as a template guideline, but not to be bound by this, but to be able to restructure and do what is best for the state of Connecticut, for every individual. Stop using corporations, stop using the millionaires, stop using the unions as amorphous entities. Talk to the people up and down the street that we represent. And you know what? They're not being represented right now. There is such a disconnect with what we do up here versus representing the people that elected us. Well, I could tell you, people are hurting, and they have taken notice. We have a fantastic opportunity. Vote down this agreement, get back to work tomorrow, and restructure an agreement that benefits everyone moving forward. So I thank you for this opportunity to speak, and thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.